Kai, let's jump into unicorns. You were digging this up.
Absolutely.
Tell me about what you got here, and let's run. We have a chart here showing where are the other 44% of unicorns from, and let's dive into why is that?
No, absolutely. This was a chart we were looking at over the weekend here, where you can see that 56% of startup founders, specifically unicorn startup founders, are U.S. born, and then 44 being non-U.S. born, which is pretty interesting because it's almost 50-50. And I'd consider that obviously U.S. born within the U.S., the number should have been a lot higher, one would think. But what we see here, top 10 countries, you have India on the top with 90 founders. Israel, almost half of that, 52, which is impressive for their population as well. And then from there, Canada, we have China, Germany, France, Russia, Taiwan, Ukraine. So like all in all, you have 500 unicorns and then 1,078 founders. So this is some pretty interesting stuff. What's your take on this, Tom?
Well, my take is, first of all, homeland Canada, the homeland of my great-grandparents, Canada, pulling up number 3. You know, I guess it was too cold, so they came here to build their company or something like that. So, But what's interesting, India doesn't surprise me. The Indian Technical College over there, it is as meaningful as MIT, and a lot of people come over here on visas, you know, getting internships or went to MIT. Yep. So India does not surprise me. No. There is a tremendous amount of technical talent there, and they are hungry. And there's a family thing I think we're going to talk about in a minute, that a cultural thing about aspiring to get to the next level. And so that didn't surprise me. Israel doesn't surprise me. It may surprise a lot of you, a small country like Israel, but I read a book, and Kellyanne, let's put a link to this book in the comment section. It's called Startup Nation. And if you don't know about Startup Nation, or if you haven't read the book, it is an amazing book talking about how India, you know, has its leadership, China has its leadership, Taiwan has its leadership, but this little tiny country, Israel, is up there constantly in the top 5 of new unicorns, security software, and, you know, CEOs. And you're going to read in that book, Startup Nation, find out exactly why that is. A tremendous cradle of, there's a university here in the United States, Miami of Ohio. It's known as the cradle of coaches. Don Shula and a lot of other people there, they said some of the great, football coaches came out of there. Well, guess what? You know, Israel is increasingly being known as the cradle of CEOs, and on an advanced basis compared to the other countries. But what's interesting is, I think there's a cultural side to this, isn't there? It's more than just, oh wow, that's interesting. You know, there's something else going on here.
For sure, and I think that a big part in terms of being a founder or being somebody who starts a company is that coming as an immigrant, whether you're first generation, the one immigrating, or being born to immigrants, because that'd be an interesting stat too in terms of like the US born ones, how many of those are born from immigrants too, because I don't think this chart really goes into that. But I think that inherently, if you're an immigrant, you already know that, okay, where I'm living doesn't work for what I'm trying to do, and you know that you're kind of seeing that I need to make an adjustment and really move out of this place to put myself in a better place for more opportunity, better jobs, whatever kind of what have you on that end. So I think that that inherently kind of pushes you more towards entrepreneurship because you've already done that once, and then now it would just be doing that in the marketplace as opposed to having relocated yourself across the country, across the world in many situations as well.
Yeah, I went to school in California. Went to my undergrad in Los Angeles, California, and I went to Pepperdine, got my MBA at Pepperdine, and there's tremendous amount of diversity there. There's, you know, the Korean community downtown. There's the Japanese community downtown. I got to learn a lot about, you know, from, you know, classmates and stuff, and they would say, you know, I'm Nisei or Sansei, and those are the 2 words that the Japanese use to describe first-generation immigrants, second-generation immigrants. Sansei meant you were born here to parents who immigrated, and Nisei was the parents immigrated. And what they indicated, they said, look, if you immigrate here to start a country, a company, you immigrate from some company to start here, what you're saying is you're in the wrong place. I'm going to the United States because wherever I am is the wrong place. I'm trapped in a caste system in India. No criticism here. It's not a racial comment, not a cultural comment. But they would say, look, I'm in a caste system and culturally in India. I come over here, go to MIT, get a degree. I can do anything in the United States. And so that's first generation. So first generation is, hey, I'm in the wrong place. And so I'm coming to the United States to have all this opportunity, venture capital, all the universities and stuff, and I'm going to go build something on the foundations of liberty, freedom, and free enterprise in capitalism. Great. Then, if you were born to them, and this is where my classmates in Southern California that were Japanese would say, listen, my parents emphasized to me, you know, Japan's made a huge comeback. It's really tremendous. It's all like this. But the reason we're here is for these reasons. Mm-hmm. And so it was, you would get from your parents, hey, the reason we're here is you've got great opportunity. And so that was very interesting, where first generation says, I'm in the wrong place, so I'm going to come here. Or I'm not in an optimal place. There's a better opportunity here. And then the second generation is, that's all I heard from my parents, is, hey, we came here because there's a better opportunity.
Absolutely. I think the other thing too, which Patrick David covered in his video about raising kids and with Indians and how they raise their kids, with a lot of them becoming successful, is I think just the way that they're brought up and the cohesive unit in terms of the family. But then also that allows you to take risks in other places of your life, where then starting a company might not be as big of a risk if you kind of have that financial stability within the family, or being able to have other people that can take care of you in that initial phase of building up a company, where you kind of have to put all your energy into that as opposed to worrying about kind of stuff on the home front on that end.
Yep, and I can't say enough about, you know, the work ethic of first generation, second generation immigrants in the United States. And frequently they had different work ethics that were much stronger and more dedicated than, you know, the US citizens. Mm-hmm. By the way, US citizens of any background, any race, any background, any culture, those that have been here 2, 3, 4 generations had assimilated themselves into, you know, sometimes American laziness. Not all Americans were lazy, but sometimes there was. But that was lacking in the immigrants. The immigrants here, I've got an opportunity, I want to do this, I want to drive, and going to do it. And I'll tell you, there are, and you know what, I just remembered something, and this is really touching, is I had the opportunity at a company I was with in 2000, 2004. It was really, you know, we had a collection of Indian Americans, and there was a female engineer who unfortunately perished in a car accident here in the United States. Her and her boyfriend were driving to Las Vegas, not wearing a seatbelt. Something happened, you know, at night with other vehicles, had an accident. They got pulled up into it, and unfortunately she was ejected from the vehicle and perished. And I got to see, you know, how the community came together, and basically how we were able to reach out to her parents in India and do things. And I saw deep appreciation for the opportunity of America, and also deep connection to the cultural traditions and norms. And they educated me for what we needed to do at that hour. And there was such deep appreciation for the opportunity she had here that came back from her parents. And at this hour of loss, just talking about how much their daughter loved going to school here and loved her career and what she was hatching. And so, and the dedication that I would see out of people was, you know, more prevalent than in Americans. Again, Americans of any race and background, multi-generation Americans, there's just that little bit more spark, that little more dedication, that little more, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna step on the gas here. So,
I have a question for you. Do you think, in terms of, in many ways, they say that the U.S. is the nation of immigrants. Like, people have come here, the great melting pot and stuff like that. Do you think there's a correlation with the rise and success of the United States in correlation with immigration kind of being the main driver that has come now throughout the last 150, 200 years?
Yeah, let's go take a look at it. Who are the 7 companies that are known as the Magnificent 7 right now that are driving the S&P 500?
Apple, Amazon, Google.
Hang on, Google.
Yep.
Led by?
Alphabet. Yes,
yep. Yes. A lot of people are upset with him,
yep.
But Indian American?
Yep. You have, obviously, Apple, which was founded by Steve Jobs.
You already said Apple.
Yep.
And we got Microsoft.
Microsoft.
Nadella.
Yep.
Indian American, right?
Yep, yep. And then you have Amazon.
Yep. And you had Netflix, Nvidia.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
He's Taiwan, right?
Yep.
Yep. No, so it's
Another second generation immigrant. I believe he's second generation. And so take a look at that. We look at the Magnificent Seven, and 3 out of the 7, I believe, are led by people whose parents weren't here, let's call it 55 years ago, because I think all those people are under 55 years old. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And so my answer would be a screaming yes, that the that immigration policy that allowed people to come here on H-1Bs and then get green cards, work permits, and then become, you know, dual citizens or full citizens, depending on the laws in the various countries they're coming from. I think that diversity has absolutely driven, especially what's happened in tech and innovation. Absolutely. And I've had the privilege of working shoulder to shoulder with many of them, you know, to just say, hey, listen, this guy of Canadian descent on my dad's side, he wants to saddle up with you and go ride on this journey, and it's been a privilege. And so I think that's absolutely part of it.